It is Tuesday night, and we have done a time shift in the whole universe of the spectrum of the universe tonight.
Yes, I'm opening for Ben Stowe.
That's true. That's true. Ben's got a new contract, you see, and our choices were to let him go at 10 o'clock Eastern, or we had to get him brown M&Ms.
One or the other.
We ain't getting him brown M&Ms, no way. So we go 10 o'clock.
Yeah, so I'm early. If you're here to see Ben, sorry. It's me.
Can you give some technical jargon of some sort for us?
Yeah, I'll play a little theme song here. It's Thomas Dolby's Blinding Me with Science.
There we go.
That one up. Yeah.
And whatever question I ask you tonight, Brian, just answer with "it depends."
It depends.
It depends.
Yeah.
It will be great.
Well, I don't know. Hard to say. It depends. So, hello, everybody. Tonight, we're going to talk about floor plans.
Yeah, I wanted to, for those of you who didn't get a chance to check out Brian's video, he did a video Monday, I believe it was.
Yeah, I think
Sunday,
so.
Monday?
Yesterday.
Gosh, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
That was so long ago. But he was talking about some issues with floor plans. So I'm going to let you kind of give us the background a little bit. And there was an angle that I wanted to really dig into tonight. And it's going to be something that I want some input from those of you in the chat room with us. And if you're watching this recorded later, well, you should have been here. Secondly, is you won't be able to see the chat room, so we're going to try to, we'll read some of the comments and such from the chat room. So if you are watching it live with us now and you're wondering why are they continually reading everything we say, it's because we have like 300 people who watch this later tonight.
There are probably going to be some questions in the chat, so we'll try to monitor those best we can and answer them. You don't get to them, say, "Hey, I had a question," and then make it in big caps or something.
Yep, exactly. Put our name at the beginning in caps, and that usually catches our attention. Or I think
Right.
there's some way to tag too. I don't know how.
I can't even chat in that chat room. It's still broken for me.
Why that doesn't work for you?
I don't know.
YouTube must not like you. You know, someday you might want to get a YouTube account and log in and
maybe you contribute a little bit, right?
Exactly. It's a new thing. You could.
Sure.
So for the video that we're talking about, the link is in the description below. You could hit pause on this video, go watch that video. It's only 2 minutes and some seconds, so you could do that.
Sure.
But then you're going to be 2 minutes behind. And all the intellectual things we're going to say, you'll be hearing them 2 minutes and 42 seconds later than everyone else. Think of the things you'll miss.
And this is what it sounds like when you try to take a 2 minute and 46-second video and expand it into about 55 minutes. This is what you get.
Oh, no. We've got different angles.
There are things to talk about. You got angles.
We got angles. But give us just an overview of what you were talking about in the video.
Someone had asked me how I handle it when I show up to an event and they've got me in a poor location in the room, behind tables in the corner, nowhere near the dance floor. How do I handle the situation? So one thing that I suggested was the best way to handle the situation is to address it before it's a problem. And that would be to bring it up in the initial client meeting. If you don't have those client meetings, at least contact your client somehow and say, "Hey, look, I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to do everything I can to make your event as successful as possible, but there are some things that you can do to help as well." And when they say, "Well, like what?" You can say, "Well, for instance, floor plans. Cake decorators and cake makers, they do that very well. Catering does catering very well. Your bar does that very well. But what a lot of them don't do well is entertainment floor planning. And that's where I can help because it does make a difference where I am in the room. So please consult with me when you're ready to do this. Let's put together a floor plan that works for not only me and you and the guests, but for catering and cake and F&B as well." That was pretty much the video. That was the suggestion I made. And then if your client ignores your advice or does not consult with you on the floor plan and you end up in the corner anyway, there's not a lot you can do about that. The ball's already in motion at that point. But the least you can do is try to head it off the pass and consult with the client about this first and hope they understand and trust you enough to heed your advice.
So there you guys got it. We got the little Reader's Digest version of the video. Although he did a wonderful job laying it out, and he had graphics.
I did.
That was pretty cool. So, what did Brian just do? Rewind.
Wait a minute. He's using paint. That's all it is.
He dropped in some graphics on this one. It's like, whoa.
Original graphics.
Yeah. Did I see an autograph in the corner of the?
Well, that's the mock watermark that's on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. It's like I looked at that and it's like, is that it? Did he? Endor-
He
I
signed
thought
it.
it was signed artwork there.
No, this isn't Jimmy DePalma artwork at all. This is my hack artwork. But I just wanted to give little illustrations as to what maybe some bad floor plans were and what a workable floor plan might look like. So visuals, cheesy visuals, but I think people got the point.
Precisely. It definitely helped to give that an idea of what you were trying to do with that. But what I wanted to start talking about with this idea now is you were talking the floor plan and the communication and such. But now I wanted to look at it from the perspective of what things do we have to take into account as entertainers when we're kind of selecting a location for where we perform, such as an optimal spot for sound in a room, and some variations of how we can maybe tweak sound a little bit. Optimal spot for presenting ourselves and our show to the crowd and the audience, and how that would relate to the room. There's some variables and such with that I wanted to really kind of dig into.
In a traditional rectangular room, if you look at any hall, it doesn't matter what it's designed for. But if it's a hall, a banquet hall, or even a venue like Carnegie Hall, even, it's a rectangular room, and on one end is the stage, and that's where the performance happens, and that's where the focus is, and then the audience is in the rest of it. It's very much the same with most banquet halls. There are some weirdo ones. I worked in a dome one time. I say one time, several times. There's a dome I work in. It's round. There's not a lot you can do. I've worked in L-shaped rooms. I've done all kinds of weird configurations. But in the traditional rectangular shaped room, or even the square shaped room, it's not like I want to be the center of attention, because I really don't. I'd like the client to be the center of attention. But once the entertainment starts happening, the entertainment element should be kind of the center of attention to draw people to it. The reason you want to be in front of the dance floor and have nothing, that's what's between your audience, you and the dance floor. The reason you want that, two reasons. You want to be able to address your audience. So if you're stuck in a corner somewhere and you're an afterthought, it's really hard to kind of command attention with lighting or anything else. If you're on the dance floor, you can focus your lighting on the dance floor. You can also design your system to have that hot spot on the dance floor.
Yes.
So in other areas of the room, it's not as loud. I mean, you can still hear it. You can hear it, but it's not real loud. So conversation areas have been created this way just by default. To me, that's ideal. That's what I'd like to do at every venue. Of course, like you said, there are certain variations of this and different room sizes and awkward areas that we play in, but pretty much that's what you're looking at. That's my thought on it, and I feel like it's not hard. I mean, as long as somebody's listening to you, as soon as they see it in action, they're going to get it.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Some of them have to see it, because if they've done it the other way so long, this is how we do it. Well, you don't understand. There's a better way. You mentioned hotspot, the sound system making the dance floor the hotspot. You did the video where you were testing speakers last week. Let's in that room. Let's just kind of visualize if that's a rectangular room and you've got the dance floor right in front of you, and you want that hotspot right in front of you. Now, the way you had that set up is you had the tops over the subs. Is that the optimal way to get kind of that hot spot on the dance floor, or would you be better off in a situation where you maybe put those subs up against the wall, or maybe stack the subs? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I know EV has the thing they do. I don't even know what it's called. Cardioid mode. That's an EV thing where it does change the kind of where the boom happens. I don't know a lot about that, but what I can tell you is that room was huge. The room that I did the demo in last week, it had a capacity of, I think, 1,089 people.
Ooh.
So it's a big space.
My.
Yeah. The two EV systems that were in there, the ETX and the EKX, did a nice job of filling the room with sound. I mean, and I understand it was empty, but I've used that ETX in situations where the room was full. So I kind of had something to gauge it on. The ETX with the 15-inch subwoofers, I thought they did a pretty good job of keeping that hot spot on the dance floor. The system that was the most impressive in there, it was totally not the system to have in that room, but I wanted to check it out and just do some tests on it, was that FBT CS1000 system, because that definitely kept the hot spot on the dance floor. With the 12-inch subwoofers, if you went back 2 rows of tables from the dance floor,
Okay.
that's kind of where the bass ended. And that's what I like about a 12-inch subwoofer.
Yes.
It just, I don't know why it does it, but it does it. It keeps the bass on the dance floor instead of in the back of the room. It was booming in the back of the room even with those 15s on both systems, but it was not booming in the back of the room with the CS1000, and you could still hear it. You know, it just wasn't exaggerated, for lack of a better word.
Overemphasized, I think, is one way to look at it. And of course, once in a room that size, you get bodies in there to fill that. That's going to eat up some of that bass bouncing around.
A lot of it.
But I agree with you completely with that. With the 12-inch, there's times where just having that bass on that dance floor,
it's really helpful.
It really, really is. And that's definitely one of the areas. I've struggled with that one myself because I've got some venues where it's me and the guests, me, dance floor, head tables and the guests are on the sides, and then somewhere it's me, dance floor, and then guests and head table guests and such. So I really, the main rooms I play are fairly well set up in one version of the other of those 2 configurations. But trying to get and keep that hot spot on the dance floor with audio, because when you have those subs, and Ben and I did a show on this where he showed that the wavelengths going out and the way the subwoofers with their fingering of their sound waves, and where they have dead spots in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, that can be a problem. Ideally, I mean, typically what I do most of the time, what I've done, I've had a single subwoofer right under my table, just use it straight out.
Yep.
I haven't ran 2 subs in a long time. And then when you do, if you have 2 subs, you put them together, you end up coupling them, so you get a 3 dB gain, and then they're twice as loud. Really, I don't know if that's always what you want, but that's what you get if you couple them. But it's a very valid point about it's cancellation when you put them on either side of the table. That there is some cancellation on that bass. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that was one of the big things that came up is when a person's looking at that and looking at locations in a room is how am I going to put William showed a picture of a setup he had, and he was along a wall kind of in a corner, and he didn't have a decent way to place his speakers and things, and it's such a struggle for us to be able to get decent sound directed on that dance floor and have it a hot spot, because you're going to have more people who are going to be like, oh, this was great, when it's not hot on the guests, where it's hot on the dance floor. And that's such a huge part, I think, that we overlook too often.
The best config that I've had any kind of experience with has been the microsystem config with the single sub in the middle and the 2 tops. It really works well. The 2 sub config, I'll let you know more about that in June when I start going out with it, because I'm going to do some tests and see what I like. If I don't like those FBT separated, I'm going to have to build some kind of poles to separate the sub and the tops.
Yeah, because I believe it's not a standard speaker pole, is it?
It's got a unique bracket on it to hold the array in place. And thus far, I don't believe that FBT has built any alternative to the pole that just screws into the subwoofer. I may have to get creative. Wouldn't be the first time.
And you have the work area to do it.
I do. I have the shop to do it. Well, kind of. There's always something going on in there. Excuse me. So yeah, that'll be something that we'll examine later on. But there's also the lighting aspect of it. If you have a light rig that's way far away from the dance floor, I mean, geez, are you going to blind everybody in front of you? Probably. It's really a challenge to get that light. To throw the light to this place, the place you want it to be, over other people. It's a drag, man, and it really screws up the focal point of the room.
Yes.
So, yeah, I just don't get stuck in the corner, guys.
You can avoid it.
Don't get stuck in the corner. It's going to happen. People are not going to listen to you, or you're not going to, come into the situation and express this early enough. So it happens to me sometimes. I mean, I get it, but boy, at all costs, just don't do it. Make it happen where you're in the right spot in the room, because otherwise it sucks.
When you're talking about the lighting, I've had some situations where I've been in that less than optimal spot, and specifically dealing with lighting and how to try to make that, to balance that out. And I've tried things where I've been over here and I tried to put lighting so they were evenly dispersed and hitting the dance floor at two different corners and making it so that the lighting was still featured or focused on the dance floor. And then I've tried, as you were saying, shining, and then you're hitting some guests in the face, and that's no fun. Probably my best result that I had when I was that far away from a dance floor is, and I got the idea from watching one of your videos where I just did the ceiling.
Yeah.
Using some of the special effects and just up on the ceiling. So there were no lights shining at eye level or lower. It was just illuminating, and I aimed it so I was illuminating the dance floor, or the ceiling right above the dance floor.
If you're lucky, if you've got a white ceiling, you can get some reflection down onto the dance floor that way.
Yep, a little refraction happened, yes.
So, it works.
But it helped to define the excitement area.
Mm-hmm.
So you had that above the dance floor, and it's like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool, and it works. The problem was, the sound system is still over in the corner. So now I'm still having to push and blare, and the aunts and uncles that are sitting right in front of they're like,
their ears are bleeding, and that's no longer a place anyone wants to sit because it's too loud. You've really got to, make it hot to get anything out on the dance floor that people are going to really respond well to. The lighting is not, going to be optimal. I mean, we can talk about ways to work around it, and you do what you got to do when you're in the situation. But again, just don't get in the situation if at all possible. Yeah. Don't put yourself in that situation.
Probably, and I want to get into the actual performance side of it and with MC work and such. But before I get to that, one of the things that, one of the crappiest setups I ever had was where, actually, there's two. One where I'm set up, and maybe the dance floor is wherever, it doesn't matter, but I'm right next to the bar. I mean, right next to the bar. So after a little while, you end up having the bar people, when they get 3 to 4 to 5 deep, they're like right in front of you. You're trying to do your thing, and they're standing right here, and they're not there for the dance floor. They're just there because they're next to the bar.
Yeah.
And the other side is the times where you're right next to the one of the bathrooms. And typically there's one video I do that it's like the women's bathroom is right there, just to the side. So as I'm performing and doing my things and such, and here comes somebody walking up, and you're expecting them to come up for a request. So you're like, okay, and you start working, and going to the bathroom. So it must just like be freaking some of these ladies out when every time they're going to the bathroom, it's like I'm over there like going to bebop over and talk to them before they go into the bathroom.
Oh man, I tell you, it's a strange business we're in, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is.
I'm going to order some room service here. Just bear with me.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, I figure I can,
Yeah. You think
I pay for it. I pay for the service. I might as well use it once in a while.
Have Starbucks bring something down. But the other aspect is watching your video is when
damn it. Hold on a second.
That doesn't sound like room service.
No, that is not room service. Jay?
Hey, Jay.
What are you doing, Jay?
Calling you to see, are you still on live?
Yeah, I'm on live, man. Can I call you back in a little bit?
Yeah, it's all good. I'm just watching.
Jay Brandon, Pioneer, everybody.
Hey, Jay.
Everybody. Say hi, Jay.
Hey, everybody.
All right, cool.
All right, later.
Bye. It's always something, man. What my life. Okay, now I get back to my text. Bring me a drink. That's not what I typed, but that's what I'm saying. So, shit, I forgot.
Yeah, you wanted to.
Please.
Jay was on live. Yes, that was Jay Brandon there.
That was really Jay. That was not a stunt double.
That was a real, authentic Jay Brandon. Right there.
Oh, you like my ringtone, huh?
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. Where were we? I'm sorry.
So the other side of it, as I was watching your video and the floor plans and such, one area that I talk a lot about when it comes to the dance floor is is to have it when we're going to be presenting things. Somebody's.
What the heck?
Ben, you're early.
Hi, Ben.
Yeah, and his mic is off.
His mic is off. Yeah.
Well, this could be like. Of course, you'll have to talk about floor layouts if he's on this.
Ben can join us. Let Ben come in.
Yeah.
No, I just.
No, you're here now.
You're here. You
Forget
can't
it. We
leave
have
now.
questions.
Oh no, I just wanted to test my audio and video real quick. Because I do these things ahead of time.
Now you're here, dude. Sorry.
You're here.
You're here. We're talking about floor plans. We're talking about optimum floor plans. I'm suggesting it's kind of the whole stage theater concept where you are the on one end of the room, you got a dance floor, you've got your audience. I feel like the best place for you to be, the only thing that should be between you and your audience is the dance floor. That's ideal for me.
Yeah,
that way you're able to create the hotspot on the dance floor with sound. You're able to focus your lighting there, and you're the center of attention, and you're able to address the crowd a lot better than, let's say, you get screwed up and stuck in a corner somewhere. John's talking about some of the alternatives you can do if, for some reason, you're not in this area. What can you do? And we came up with a few, but yeah, geez, don't put yourself in this situation in the first place is probably our best advice. John did ask about some of the things that we can do to keep the hot spot on the dance floor, and that's where a geek like you really could come in handy now.
And that was our Ben and I talked about that in a different video.
It's funny, and I do actually have to jump off for a second, and I'll jump back on in time for our show. But the first thing I thought of when I saw the graphic for your show is immediately the first thing I thought of was room EQ, and loudspeaker placement and room EQ. And obviously what you're talking about is much more of a function of aesthetics and the flow of the event and that sort of thing.
It worked.
What worked? I'm sorry.
He called for room service and
man, how do I get that gig? But anyway, I think you hit the nail on the head, Brian. And I think John, you hit the nail on the head too. With getting with the staff ahead of time probably gives you the best chance of not being relegated to the corner. Nobody puts Brian in the corner.
Well, people try.
I'm sure. I think you're probly right on both of those fronts. But anyway, I just wanted to test audio and video. I just got back in town about 2 minutes ago, and it is my son's birthday today. So with apologies.
Again?
Yeah. It happens. Yeah. Every year. It seems like it was just last year.
It just happened. Yeah. Last year, didn't it? Yeah.
And my daughter's was yesterday. I'm just, hey, talk about planning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like clockwork,
No, I have a daughter who was born on Christmas Eve. You want to do that? I'll tell you exactly how to do that. Conceive on April Fool's Day.
I say I'm working the math backwards. Yeah. Okay. Noted. Yeah. So
that's exactly how you do that. That's the joke of April Fool's Day. April Fool's.
What fascinates me, totally random, nothing to do with dance floors, but I see my friends' Facebook birthday notifications, and you can sort of see the trends when a lot of birthdays, not a lot of birthdays. And, since I have like 4,000 some Facebook friends and you have like 8 million, we can see these large patterns emerge, and you put enough data together, patterns come out and you're like, a lot of birthdays, not a lot of birthdays. And just sort of see, well, that must have been a cold day,
You got to look at things like power outages.
Yeah, that would be another interesting thing if you could map it not only to seasons but to years and specific events. Like the obviously the baby boomer generation. So,
yeah.
Anyway, with that, gentlemen, back to dance floors.
And that's why we love Ben.
Yeah, he can bring in stats.
Let's statistically figure this out. Oh boy, yeah. Put him on the spot. I'm like, oh hell no. Here, first Jay, then Ben. What next? We should just start over, man. This is terrible. Oh, Jay's in the room. Nice.
He went into the room.
Jay's here. He's visiting. So where the hell were we?
So the other area I wanted to talk about was from the acting, and this is something that Bill Herman talks about in the entertainment experience, is the idea of when I'm on stage is that you never want to, in essence, turn your back to the guests. And you don't want to have them, in essence, looking at your back. And as a MC and such, I really try to, be cognizant of that when I am speaking and I'm moving the guests through for grand introductions and doing what I need to do. I want to make sure that I'm in an optimal position where when I'm announcing, I do not have people behind me. so that I can scan the room and look at them. And when it came to the room layout, that's probably one of the things that I talk about with my couples the most, is that when you're doing your toasts, I don't want to have people behind you. And when I'm going to be making announcements as such, I want to be in a spot where I'm visible, so that your guests will be able to look and be able to follow and pay attention. And then, of
Right.
course, I don't want them looking at my back. And some of the venue situations, when I'm in a corner, I'm not, no one's to my back, but when I'm way over in a corner, there's absolutely no way I can be the center of attention when I need to be at that moment in time where I'm going to be introducing the father of the bride, who's going to he has a little speech that he wants to give to his daughter, whatever this little family tribute is, whatever it is. If I'm doing that from the corner, it's lost.
Yeah, not only that, but when you're playing dinner music, forget about. I'll talk about the stage presence thing in a minute, but just from an audio perspective, when you're in the corner like that, and you're trying to play something as simple as dinner music,
yep,
you cannot, cause ear fatigue to the people right in front of you. And you can hurt somebody if you crank up the sound like that.
Yeah.
But then nobody halfway through the room is going to be able to even hear your music.
Yes.
There's no travel at all. And it's just this hot spot right there, even at a low volume, that's killing grandma, who shouldn't be sitting there in the first place. But she is. Somebody yesterday said the elderly and my speakers are like moths and a bright light. They always end up right there by the speakers, no matter what. But that's something else that's problematic. But as far as addressing the audience and from where in the room, is that going to happen best? In our situation, nothing should be between you and your audience except the dance floor. That's it. Nothing else. I am not a big microphone guy at my wedding receptions. I say what I need to say. I make the announcements. I bring people into the room. And every word I say, everything that I say, there's a reason for it. I never arbitrarily turn on the microphone. And I don't make it the Brian show where I'm trying to be cute and all this stuff. I'm just not that guy.
Yep.
I want the music and the lighting, once the dancing gets started, to kind of speak for itself. If something needs to be said, I'm going to say it. But otherwise, whatever. I should not even be the center of attention. The dance floor should be the center of attention.
Yep.
And that's why that sound is important. That's why that lighting is important. Don't even worry about me. I used to illuminate myself back in the old days. And it was really not so much so you could see me. It was more so I could read album sleeves because I couldn't see. There was no light back there. You had to illuminate it somehow. So I put these big par fixtures shining down on me. And the way that it was sold was, we have pars that illuminate the DJ, which really wasn't what it was for, but it did. But now I would rather be in the dark. You don't even see me. I am so not important. You're important. You're the audience. This music is important. You need to hear it. These lights are fun. I hope you enjoy them. I'm not the important thing in the room. So that's kind of how I see it.
But there'll be times, Brian. I mean, I like to, Todd Mitchum refers to it as his focus ball. He had this little ball. And at the wedding, there's going to be times where you're going to get the focus, because you're going to take that focus for a moment, and then you're going to put it up at the head table, or you're going to put the focus over here or there as you make an announcement. So we have our moments where it might be, in case of you and I, we might only be in the light for 1% of the night, and some other MCs that are doing more might be more.
It's the focus of the host, not the focus of an act.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
And I don't mind being a host. I don't mind being an act, but that's not really my purpose at a wedding reception.
They're not there to see the act. They're there to enjoy.
Whether they are or not, I'm not going to give it to them. I used to do the act. I used to do it. And there are people out there who make a very good living being the act. I'm just not that guy. That's not what I want to do at a wedding. I don't want to be a wedding act. I would love to host and provide a service for you.
Mm-hmm.
Above and beyond that, I'm not interested. So that part to me isn't as important. But a lot of the as far as commanding attention, I'm in front anyway. I know how to use a microphone. I know how to use my voiceover microphone, and I command attention better than anybody else who grabs it. People are going to hear me. They cannot ignore me. It's just, I don't talk like this when we're doing these shows. I don't talk like this on my videos. But when I'm at a gig, my voice is a little different.
Right.
I throw some bass into it. I'm barking it out here from the diaphragm.
Mm-hmm.
I speak clearly. People, yeah, it's time to get your attention here, folks, because I'm not going to sell for anything less. And I get it. And once I get it, I direct it where it needs to be, and I'm done. I don't know. It's if that makes any sense at all.
No, it
but
does.
The one thing that I do want to talk about, and we kind of missed it, was when you have that client meeting and you express that room placement is an issue, there are a couple of ways I feel like that you can really hammer this point home, and I'll share them with you. The first thing I don't feel like is a good idea is to have too many cautionary things for your client to remember. I look at it like this. When I take a request list from a client, if I have 7 must-play songs, I'm going to play them.
Yes.
It's not a problem. I know these songs are important to them. They ask for them, so I'm playing them. However, if I have 100 must-play songs that are very important to the client, and I work it out in my head that I can only play between 60 and 70 tracks in a 4-hour set, considering the average track is 3.5 minutes long, I got to bump 30 to 40 songs off that list. I don't know which ones are important and which ones aren't. So 100 song list is too big of a list.
Yes.
If I give a client a giant list, they're going to fizzle out after 10. It's going to be too many directives. So what I have to do as someone who's trying to do as much damage control as possible at the client meeting is focus on the most important things that I need this client to know. There are other things that we can work around. It's not a big deal. But something like room placement is a big deal. That's something I need to talk about right away, and they need to know it, because that can make or break an evening right there. So a few things. There are other things that I suggest to clients. One I kind of made a joke about earlier. Keep grandma away from my speakers, please.
Yep.
Put her in the back of the room, and put your young friends up in front who want to party and have a good time. They're not going to mind the sound a little louder. And then, of course, trust who you're working with. Any vendor that you work with, make sure you trust them. That's important, man. I mean, if your client really trusts you, they're going to listen to you, and they're going to let you help them. And trust is something that, I don't know, kind of rare these days for people to just trust somebody.
Oh, for sure.
The word trust is thrown around a lot. If you turn on the TV, you might see an ad that says, "What you don't know might kill you. Tune in tomorrow at 10 to find out. It could just save your life." So what you're saying is, this is an important thing, but if it kills me between now and 10 o'clock tomorrow, it's okay. This isn't important enough for you to tell me right now? No, this is not important. I don't trust you. You're not the news I trust.
But I don't know what it is. I might die from it.
I might die from it.
I got to stay right
It happens
here.
before 10. Yeah, I got to watch it at 10, but what happens if it happens between now and 10 tomorrow? They don't care.
Are you going to the store? No, I don't know what it is yet. I have to.
But then it's the same, the news you trust. You can trust TMJ4 or whatever your thing is. I don't trust these people. No, real trust, man. Make sure your clients trust you. When your clients trust you and you don't fill their heads with too much stuff, they're going to do what you ask.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. But again, if you bulk that list up with every little thing you can think of to tell the client, you're going to lose them. Their attention span isn't that long. They have other things to think about. Make this simple for them. And I've done videos on so many things. I had somebody, I don't know, last summer I was looking through some old videos, and somebody said, look, I have an ethical problem with this and I'm not sure how to handle it. I have a guest who wants me to play music that has some inappropriate language in it. It's not what I normally do. So how do I handle this? How do I tell the client that, after they've paid me and all this, and they've hired me to do the job, that I'm unwilling to do this for them?
Right.
And a lot of people popped up and said, that's something you should cover in the initial client meeting. How many things are you going to cover in this initial client meeting?
Yeah.
You can't talk about everything. You can't do it. Focus on the important stuff. Something like that's rarely going to come up, and if it is, deal with it. Floor plan is something you can handle early. So get that in there. And pick like 4 other things. Give them 5 things. That's what I do on my website. I got a little list on there. It's, 5 things to help make your event as successful as possible. And it's little points like that. It's not a 30 things or a 50 things. It's 5 things. If all you got to remember is 5 things, I think you can do it.
That's generally when I'm having my face-to-face meetings. I want to make a list between 3 and 5 of the action things that they need to be working on in the next 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Is if I give 10, nothing, then one or none will get done. But 3 to 5.
Yeah, something's going to get cut.
Yeah.
And when you don't know, what the most important things are in that list of 10, you don't know which ones are okay to cut, but you have to cut something. You could cut the most important thing. Same thing with the 100 song request list. Well, even if you've got to cut 3 tracks, what if you cut the wrong 3 tracks? This list has to be consolidated. This is not fair. This is not going to work out. Just a few things, and they'll remember it.
Precisely. I should finish this because the people are going to be like, well, you've had 10 things that they might need to do. Yes, you have a list of 10 things. This is why you like to meet. Ideally, in my planning, I like to meet about 45 days out. And as we go through, it's like, okay, I've got 10 different things they need to do. I'm going to give them the 3 things. I like to do 3, but 5 can. 3 things that are the things that they could work on the easiest right now and knock out. It's like, okay, I'm going to send over an email with our notes from tonight's meeting. This is something I do at all of our meetings. I take notes, and then I send them a copy of the notes. So that way, they know what we've talked about. And it's going to have 3 things I need you to work on. And then, and once we get those knocked out, then I've got some more things, and I'll send those over to you once we get these. But we want to focus on these 3 and get these knocked out.
Yeah.
Would what are you guys? Would you have? Is this something that we can kind of touch base next Friday and have it done? Would you guys have a chance? Oh yeah, we'll have it done by next Friday. Great. That way I can send him an email the next Wednesday and say, hey, how is everything going on? Oh yeah, we've got them all done. Great. And then I can send the next 3 action items. So eventually I'll get to 10, but
right.
It's kind of where couples get, even if they aren't attention deficit, they get that way towards the end. So it's nice to be able to give them bite-sized things. They can have some success, and yay, rah, rah. And as we get to the last, 7, 8, 9, or 8, 9, and 10, those items may not have been that important. And to a point, we could maybe fly without, and we could deal with that the day of if we had to. Oh, wedding party, I didn't get the exact order. You know what? I can probably get that from the program at the church if I needed to, because they weren't sure if they were going to put this person there, if that was something that was a last minute decision. We can make a lot work, but.
Well, I don't like to put people to work either. I mean, I want to make my whole experience pretty easy. Yeah. I'm not big on structure. I'm just not. That's not how I work, but I'm pretty relaxed and groovy about things. Mm-hmm. I don't get real worried about things. I don't get worked up about them. And I don't want to give people a bunch of homework. They have enough to do in their life. But please, the only thing I ask are these things. That's it.
Yeah.
Above and beyond that, we can talk if you want. If you have questions or want some suggestions, I'd be happy to. But these 4 or 5 things, whatever, please, these, and we're good. And again, like I said in the video and earlier in this broadcast, if they choose to ignore you, you've done all you can. You really have. This isn't always your fault. So
97. Okay. We're going to change gears just a little bit here. We had a question. Eric popped up in a class of a 60th class reunion, and they're wondering how to live
60th class reunion, huh?
60th class reunion. I was just doing the math. That would be a 1957 graduating class.
Yeah, my dad had a crazy one, like 65 or 70 or something like that recently. Yeah.
So, and how to liven that up? And the suggestion was made from back when you and I were doing the decades shows,
Mm-hmm.
which ironically are still getting traffic. People are still watching those shows, and every once in a while somebody put a comment on some of those old shows, which is kind of interesting. They mentioned playing music that would have been, in their teen years, 18, 19-year-old, early 20s from that era. A 60th or 60th. So you're talking people who are going to be what, late 80s.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough.
They're going to be at least in the late 70s.
Or late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be 80, but yeah, probably.
Within the early 80s, they graduated at 23.
Yeah.
They were probably out of there at 16, 17. So I'm going to say they're right around 75, 76.
70, yeah. Yep, somewhere in that ballpark. So
77.
77, 78. There we go. Years old.
About my mother's age, yeah.
So how would a person liven up an event like that? I mean, it's something at some class reunions in the past. Of course, we play the music from that era, but that is such a bygone era that you'd want to do a sampling of that. But at class reunions, I've found that unless it's an 80s, a 1980s era, they want a little bit from their era, their years, but they want to have a mix from other years pumped in much quicker than the 80s. For some reason, you do an 80s, 85, 86, 87. They're like, yeah, just play our stuff and we're good all night long. And
let's see, my mom was 30 when I was born, and she is, my mom. Well, she's 76. So right around what we're talking about here.
yes,
And, my mom, for most of my life, she's not like me. I mean, she's not like, she doesn't know the artist and she doesn't know the facts about the artist, but she's got an ear and she knows what she likes. And when she hears it, she tells me about it. Like, she really likes tracks. The last track I remember that my mom specifically told me about, and I hadn't heard it yet, but she heard it and it was her jam. I was about 3 years ago, was when What Does the Fox Say came out. She loved that song, and like, she was wearing the t-shirt in the whole bit.
fun.
I don't know what it was about that track, but she loved it. My mom also really enjoyed a lot of the music in the 80s, 70s, in her 30s. I mean, she was all about disco. Before the disco hit, she was about stylistics and soul and singer-songwriter stuff. I don't know what she listened to in the 60s. I have no idea, but I know she liked Elvis. I know she was very into Buddy Holly.
Mm-hmm.
Going back, in her teen years, and he died in, I think, 59 was when Buddy Holly died.
Somewhere in that, yeah.
Or 60, right around there anyway. So yeah, I mean, you can play things for my mom from 1955 all the way through today. But my nephew got married 3 years ago. And I know I've told this story before. This is absolutely true. My nephew got married 3 years ago. Nice place, nice hall, warehouse thing, kind of cool. Old blues club. And had a DJ, really good, solid DJ was in there. We were running photo booth for him. And the DJ was playing Buddy Holly because my nephew kind of digs that too. And older things, that you would think the older folks would come out and enjoy. The Twist, Proud Mary, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is not reacting at all to any of this. Of course, the dude drops What Does the Fox Say, and mom loses her freaking mind. I mean, I don't mean like she just says, "Oh, I like this." I mean, she's throwing her hands in the air, going, "Wee, wee, wee, wee." It's just, she's going crazy. And my dad is like, "I don't know her. I don't know her." So you don't know, man. You can't assume that they're all just going to want to hear Buddy Holly all night. That's probably not the case. You think about their lives and what they've lived through. They lived through the Beatles. They lived through disco. They lived through punk. They lived through all the 80s synth stuff. You know, Elton John didn't hit until they were nearly 30 years old or in their 30s, and they probably love Elton John regardless. Just because it didn't happen in their teen years, they're probably very familiar with the Elton John catalog and Rod Stewart, you know, and all of those standards people. So,
and now we've got Katie with us. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if she realizes
still.
If the eyes are moving.
Jeez, look at that. She's intense, man. Just
hopefully she doesn't drop an F-bomb. That's Ben's shtick.
I don't even do that.
No,
not very often.
We've been good. Well, we should wrap things up so we can switch over.
Switch over. We're done with me. But
well, we actually went longer than I thought we were going to. I figured we'd be wrapping up at about 20 minutes too.
No, she left.
She left.
Scared her away.
She doesn't want to hang with us anymore.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Reg, you mentioned 1959. Is that a little to liven up the place? I believe Howie gets he wins the prize for that. Yeah, it would be Viagra would liven up that room.
Big time.
I think Howie wins that one.
It would liven up the room for the guys. Women, they might be done with that. Oh God, not again! I thought that was over with.
Wait, we did that already once this month. Come on now.
Are you kidding me? Oh God.
Oh, thank you guys for being with us tonight. And our time change, we should be back next week at our regular time. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with Ben and Katie. Good night, everyone.